Radio.
Hey everyone, we're back for another Svelte Radio episode, and this time we are the full cast. Sean, Brittany, Antony, and myself. We're back after the summer break, summer holiday, and yeah, we're very excited to get into the nitty gritty of Svelte again. So, what have you guys been up to?
Happy to be back and to have everyone here. And
yes,
really happy to be on video and to allow everyone to see our excited faces when you surprise us with your introductions.
This one wasn't too wild, right?
No, it's just always a surprise.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So since last time, Beyond got Series A, which is amazing.
Yay! Congrats.
Yeah. And it was 3 times the size of the average Series A in England at the time, which is great.
Can you tell us what that word is and means?
Series A.
You'll have to say it slower, maybe.
Series, like as in
series. Oh, a Series A.
Series A. Sorry, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sorry, my bad.
You're speaking English.
I should be clearer on a podcast. Series A. It's like the like a funding round.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So what are you doing with all the money?
Well, big parties, yachts, the usual kind of stuff, right? Yeah. No, actually, we are being extremely thrifty with it because it was very, very hard to guess. It took us months, and people kept eking extra money, and it was really weird. Yeah, we're basically doing an international expansion, so we've just launched in the US. So I think we're already 10 people out there in Austin, which is pretty cool. And yeah, we're just sort of doing a sort of more global rollout, which is pretty cool stuff.
That's amazing. Congrats.
You hired 10 people in the last few months?
You better believe it. Honestly, we hire people very quickly. Yeah, I mean, we're talking sales hires. We're not doing tech in the US at the moment, but we're doing sales hires there. And yeah, we seem to hire good people very quickly, which is surprising given how hard it is.
So you're hiring sales in Austin, which Austin is a big tech hub right now too.
It is a big tech hub. Yeah, I couldn't tell you why we're doing sales in Austin. We just are.
We just built a new office in Austin.
Oh. Nice.
Or opened an office.
I feel like there's a potential for a meetup in Austin or something.
I know. I definitely should go
there. We
can all
fly in.
I know.
I'm going to San Antonio next month, but that's not. I don't think that's that close to Austin. Texas is really big.
I heard it's big.
I've heard.
It's like bigger than half of Europe. I don't know. It's not that big, but it's big.
It's very big. Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Sean? What have you been up to? You're living in San Francisco now, and we're recording this way too early for you.
Yeah. So the usual times I have not been able to make them because they're 6 a.m. my time now. But I did move to San Francisco. We have been more or less immersing myself in AI engineering, quote unquote, which is a term I am semi-making up, but also has caught on a little bit in the sense that the podcast that I work on and the newsletter and now the conference that I'm running have all been tuned towards the persona of the AI engineer, which is the software engineer that is building with AI. And that is meant to be a distinct profile demographic than the ML engineer or the research scientist. And yeah, I've been immersing in that for quite a bit. I'm currently back in London, just on a stop because I'm about to speak at a conference. And even here, I'm meeting a whole bunch of AI engineers. And it's been really rewarding, I guess. And yeah, I think that's my update so far.
Yeah, that's exciting. And we did a podcast episode on Svelte Radio about the basics or an intro to AI kind of thing that people should check out if they're interested in that. Yeah. So what have I been doing this summer? I have been on a road trip to Norway. Well, that was the plan anyway. It started raining, like torrential amounts of rain, so I had to cancel, go back home, just sit in my apartment. That was fine though. was nice taking a break. But now they have conveniently started what's it called? They're like redoing the pipes and the sewage system in my apartment complex. So I have no running water. I have no sewage. So that's nice. But yeah. Luckily, we have another apartment that we're living in the meantime, so that's fine. But it's like a mattress on the floor. It kind of feels like those pictures you see of Silicon Valley people, startup people just living in San Francisco. They have a TV on a chair, and then there's just a mattress on the floor. I don't know if you've seen those pictures.
You say it's like a mattress on the floor, Kev, but you are famous on this podcast for being in environments where there is just a mattress on the floor or a chair on the floor or like, I don't know, nothing. I think was one time, like an empty room. I would say that if it looks, Kev, a bit like your background always at all times.
Well, I mean, this is actually just like an office space where I'm renting a desk, so
that's different. That's different then. No, because I honestly thought maybe it's a Scandinavian thing that this minimalist gone crazy, but no. I mean, mattress on the floor is de facto.
It's not by choice. Like I would love to not sleep on the floor.
Yes, wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all?
Yeah. So lately, I've been building the new Svelte Summit website. So that's launching today. Which would be a week ago if you're listening to this. It was meant to go out yesterday, but things happened. And yeah, I've been actually rebuilding it. So I'm releasing the new conference site, and then I'm also rebuilding it to be more dynamic, so I don't have to like update it manually all the time, which I should have done like 2 years ago, but better late than never. So there's that. That's pretty much me.
When is it?
Sorry?
When is it?
So it's on November 11th, and it's on the usual URL, sveltesummit.com. That's
you should always plug the dates and
people no, you're right. Info. You're right. You're right. Sveltesummit.com, November 11th. CFPs are open. If you're interested in doing a talk, go submit one. That's it. Any other personal updates or what's been going on lately?
I think Brittany hasn't gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like life's just been crazy. Summer is always just nuts with the kids. Like we went to amusement parks. We went to a place called Cedar Point, which it used to have some of the biggest roller coasters in the world, but now like we rode the 6th tallest and fastest roller coaster. Got my son on that, but then he chickened out of like the next couple. So he rode two there, and then we went to a more local one a couple weeks later with my younger one, and she got him on like pretty much everything there, except for the upside down stuff. But he did like an upside down one there, so I don't know. He's a funny beast, that one. So I'm trying to get him to be braver, but maybe as the little one gets older. Because he's like, I can't let the little girl like outdo me on the big roller coasters. So he's like, if she's going to go, I have to go. So yeah, we had fun this summer. It was our first summer with a pool. So we spent a lot of time in the pool. It's the only nice time here in Michigan. So we didn't vacation a lot, but amusement parks and pool time.
Yeah.
It was.
I feel like Michigan is kind of like Sweden in that sense that like in the summertime you kind of want to enjoy the place where you live.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's true. Just weirdly related to roller coasters, because I mean, I used to love roller coasters as a kid as well. I still enjoy them now, the big ones. But swings, I used to really enjoy swings as a kid as well, and I like swings in the park and stuff. And I was always the one who tried to get over the top and all that kind of stuff. But the thing
do loops and stuff.
Well, you can get, if you swing hard enough, you can get you get to the anti-gravity stage, and then you suddenly go over the top. You'll get right over the top of it, which is probably a bad idea, really. But as a kid, you kid things. But what I found is now having my own child who also seems to love swings, I sit on a swing next to her and try and swing, and I feel physically sick. Like I really feel sick when I swing. Yeah. When did that happen? Like I didn't use swings for 10 years.
You get old.
That's not fair.
in your 30s probably at some point, like you just got old and you just don't realize it, and then you need Dramamine to go on roller coasters now. I'm not so bad. I can still do the loopy ones, and I will feel it after a few, but my husband, he took true Dramamines while we were there to go on the roller coasters, and then after the last one we went on, he's like, I can't do anymore.
Wait, are there drugs against like
it's like
motion
anti,
sickness?
like motion sickness. It's the ones you take for cruise ships and boats.
I
and
have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of those. I don't get it. It came on like suddenly. Just like, when did that happen? At what point or what age did I stop being able to use a swing? Yeah.
When you got old.
Well, that's depressing. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So that's some fun updates from folks. We also have some updates on Svelte and Kit, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So recently we finally managed to get the on navigate lifecycle hook, I guess you could call it, into Kit. So that means that we can now very easily use the what's it called, View Transition API that's been added to Chrome, which makes it super easy to do page transitions. I guess you could figure it out from the name of the API. Only works in Chrome. I think I read somewhere or heard something about Safari adding it as well, or they are going to add it at least. But we'll see how long that takes. The good thing about it is that it's really a really nice candidate for progressive enhancement. So if it's just like a feature flag thing, or you check if it exists on the document, and then if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, you'll just get the regular old style thing where you just get a flash or the content changes. Has anyone tried the Transitions API?
I haven't. I want to. I think it looks really good, and there's been a few hacks before that. I guess I don't fully understand it, and I need to understand it first and then use it. But it's definitely something interesting that I'd like to try.
I feel like this needs to prove that people want it enough. I think it's the kind of thing that designers love because it looks slick. But then if it doesn't seem to actually benefit sites like Beyonc, then why do we have it?
Right.
I mean, obviously, I think we have it because you can't really do what this does inside of native JavaScript. You have to have some browser support for it, and the apps, like the native apps on mobile apps, have come with it. And so I think this is all part of the whole story about the web fighting back against the closed gardens of the native mobile ecosystems, because the native mobile ecosystems offer better user experience. But I don't know, like it seems like it has to prove its value, and I don't know what needs to happen for it to go mainstream. Like, let's say Safari supports it tomorrow. I still don't see a whole bunch of people rewriting to add custom transitions, but maybe that can just come with some frameworks out of the box.
Right, so I guess my response would be that view transitions, when I say that I need to understand them more. I guess what I'm thinking here is that I have two sort of destinations for them. One would be the main website, like the marketing site, and one would be the dashboard. I can envisage that flashy transitions are cool on a marketing site, but we're actually moving that to WordPress, so I can no longer use Svelte transitions. But on the dashboard, I can see it having value, because it gives a better user experience, and more like an app experience. But what I don't understand about them, especially in the Svelte ones, is how do I give it the contextual information it needs in order to transition from meaningful state A to meaningful state B. So if my page has got this div on it and I click that to change page, how does it know that that div becomes a focus, or elements of that div or things on screen become the focus and they get transitioned into the next page and everything else gets cleared out, and then I have the new page in front of me? That's the bit I'm very unclear on.
Yeah. So I think this is mostly done in CSS, actually. So you define the divs in CSS and you name a transition name, I think, that you apply to the element. So I'm not sure entirely how much you actually need to do actual JavaScript to get this working.
Right, because the
I haven't
JavaScript
tried it.
controls. I mean, I guess the JavaScript controls it would be, the orchestration.
Yeah, but I think that's only if you have an SPA, right? I think if it's an MPA, like it would just work, I assume. Maybe not. I'm not an expert.
I don't know how it would work in MPA, because isn't that like clear the page and reload?
Yeah, but that's the thing with these view transitions.
Yeah.
Transitions between actual reloads.
Actual pages.
And yeah.
What, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was view to view.
Page transition API.
But I thought that was like pages as in the virtual pages which an SPA is made up of.
Right. I guess
like
it could
physical... be. Well, that's what I thought it was, because I can't
think we
imagine
need to
how
do
you
more
transition
research.
smoothly. Request to the server, get a new page back in full, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't understand it. I mean, I'm ready to understand it, but I don't right now.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to dive a bit deeper.
Deep dive.
It's the view transition API. So it's not the page transition.
But I think it is between pages.
It doesn't currently enable
But-
cross-document view transition.
Oh, interesting. So that would mean it's not MPA.
So it transitions between states in SPAs.
Right. That's what I thought it was. Yeah,
Yes.
because you have to retain the content of the page in some form.
Yeah.
Unless you had like streaming responses, maybe it would work, but I don't know how that would work even, and that's a whole different kettle of dogs. Whatever.
I mean, I would think the browser would be able to cache the old page and just check where the different.
I just haven't played with these enough
But then
to
that's-
know.
Oh,
And
but
I
there's
haven't
something to do with the browser supporting it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like Safari
Yeah, it's all a
doesn't
browser
support it.
thing.
Right. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, there's a lot I don't know. You don't know what you don't know, Kev.
Yeah, maybe we should have Jeffrey on to do to help us understand this.
That would sound good.
Yeah. So I guess that's what's new in Kit, and on the Svelte side we have a lot of Svelte ambassadors talking on Twitter about how they're liking the new Svelte 5 and stuff. That's very cool. I wonder when it's coming. I guess we'll see. Because we can't talk
I've
about
heard
it.
nothing of it. I've heard nothing of
No.
it. Liars. Who are
Me
they?
neither.
What do they know?
I know nothing about anything.
I love how we're
But let's say that the addition of Dominic to the team may or may not have influenced it somewhat.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe.
But we don't know.
Things may be
So we
getting
should-
faster.
nothing.
Yeah. Maybe. I wonder if we'll get more magic or less magic. We'll see.
I wonder.
Yeah.
It's actually one thing I did learn about Dominic. That Dominic was apparently one of the, if not the person who decided React hooks should be called hooks.
That's
So
interesting.
he was very pivotal in the whole hooks movement, which is interesting. Yeah, and he obviously, I think I'm going to get this wrong, but he invented Ember, the thing that's
Ember.js?
faster and the thing, not Ember.
I think it's Inferno.
Inferno, the thing
yeah.
that was always faster in the benchmarks than Svelte, like behind vanilla, I think mostly, and then always faster than Svelte. And now, like, he's in the Svelte column. So what happens there? What happens there,
Yeah.
everyone?
I think maybe the thing we can talk about is Rich shared some of the benchmarks for Svelte 5 that came out while we've been away. So, I mean, those benchmarks
Supposedly.
were very close to vanilla JS, which are like crazy fast.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did
Yeah,
see a benchmark
exciting.
that was faster than vanilla JS. I don't know how that works.
There's
but I
one.
saw one that was faster than.
Like, how is that even possible? Because, I mean, really, it's like still vanilla JS under the hood, right?
What kind of
Well,
incantations are they doing there on the
Yeah.
on the maintainer team?
Yeah, it's
Scary.
absolute.
Some kind of
wildness.
alchemy or something.
I think I did see some like vials of green liquid and stuff. So Yeah. Who knows?
But yeah, so I guess we'll hopefully be seeing more information soon.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the surprise.
No.
Yeah. Oh, you know something?
I
know something, Sean?
I actually do want to ruin the surprise, but I'm not going to.
All right, so let's move on. So this next topic is pretty sad. So there was a community member called Ivan Hofer who passed away during an ultra marathon. He was responsible for doing the library called Type Safe Internationalization, or I18N, which has been I think it's pretty much been the go-to internationalization library for Svelte users for a while. So that's pretty sad. It's crazy how, and he was pretty young as well. So it's kind of crazy to me that these things happen.
Especially when you're doing something that's ultimately, a healthy thing. That's probably the biggest surprising thing for me. TypeSafe 18N, we actually launched it literally the week after he died, unfortunately. But it's the reason we chose it is because he was driving a thing within the maintainers actually, that it would start off as a third-party thing and then eventually become the kind of de facto solution for Svelte Kit for internationalization. So it's a real shame actually, because I would have loved to see him, spearhead that work and it become part of Svelte Kit core.
Yeah.
I think someone is stepping up to take his place, which is great that can go on and continue. Because it's a great library. I don't know much about TypeScript, obviously, but it's very type focused, and that's good because it means that you kind of get hinting around when you're trying to translate your site. It's tricky to wire in, but once it's wired in, it works really well. I mean, we launched with it, no issue at all, and it's in production now. So I highly recommend the library. And it's such a shame that I didn't actually get to talk to him.
I only talked to him briefly on Discord. He submitted a Svelte Summit talk for last Svelte Summit, and that you can go check out, and it's about TypeSafe I18N. So
I would miss that one.
And there's also like I guess you could call it an obituary, where people can translate messages using. So it's a site that Dominic G, not damn it, they're both called Dominic G. It's complex. OG Dominic.
Actually, no, that's even more confusing.
It's too hard now. Yeah.
But
it's Dominic with a K and Dominic with a C.
Yeah.
Dominic with a K is the one who did the obituary. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So it's basically a repo where you can add a translation of a nice message that shows up on a website. So that will be in the show notes. So you can open a PR and add a language that's missing, that's not there yet. I think that's it. Go check out his talks and TypeSafe I18.
And definitely use the library. I think it's the most complete out there.
Yep. All right. So showcases. There's been a couple of cool projects lately that I wanted to highlight. So this first one is called Sveltroid, which is it's pretty cool. It's like a Super Metroid implementation for the web, kind of using all sorts of different kind of technologies. And the UI, or the HUD, heads-up display stuff, is made using Svelte. So that's cool. And I've reached out to...
I was going to say, I think the actual game engine is written in 3JS, I believe. The hood's in Svelte. I've never played the game, but I mean, it looks a bit to me like Half-Life or Doom or whatever. I don't know what people play nowadays, these kids, but yeah, it's really cool. It's really, really cool. Yeah,
it's a first-person kind of game. And I've reached out to, I think he's called Jason? Tyler, and asked him to come on the podcast. So maybe we can...
Awesome.
Maybe we can hear him talk about this himself.
I mean, it's quite a feat to build out in 3JS as well. I'm really impressed with it. It's one of those things where I genuinely have no idea how I would even start that kind of thing. It's kind of also me and AI right now. Sorry, Sean, it's true. I just don't know how I would even begin.
Yeah. Next up, I wanted to highlight Joy of Code, or Mattia. He's also an ambassador. His library called Animotion, which is a really cool library that you can use to make presentations with animations and all this cool stuff. And you can also use it to record videos. So, well, you would use it and then record the actual slides, I guess. So it's pretty nice. Has anyone tried it?
I have not, but it certainly sounds interesting.
And but they're like he's done a video on it as well, and it looks pretty nice. Definitely.
Has anyone invented time yet? Because I think time is the thing that prevents me from trying most of these things out. I mean, I would just love to like sit here and just try everything, because the stuff people build is amazing, and every time I do try something with some anger, it's like, oh, I can use this, and all these ideas come, and you apply it to this and apply it to that, and I just think if I had like time to do 100% of these things, I would be so much more productive, and I wouldn't be, which is the irony of the whole thing. But I would be more productive because I'd think like, bang, problem, apply that, and it's just it's the curse, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, if you get kids, I hear that's a time sink.
No, not at all. They're fine. They just barely impact my time at all.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for, unless we have other topics that you guys want to talk about, we can move on to the most important sections of the show.
Oh.
Unpopular opinions.
Well, I'm not my desk. I haven't got mine.
I guess we can let Antony go first.
What's an unpopular opinion? I mean, I don't really have any of these, do I? Unpopular opinions. I haven't really thought of one this time, actually. I mean, I'm sat in a WeWork, and it's a fostering place for unpopular opinions, because honestly, it's the most work hostile environment I've ever been into. I really don't like it. And no one else seems to like it.
So why are you there?
So why are we here? Because my company's based here, because it's kind of de facto, isn't it? And I think what we're going to do is probably consider options, because I don't think anyone wants to be here, to be honest. So I'll sit here quite happily in here and say this is a bit crap. That's my unpopular opinion. Who's next?
I could go, or Sean, do you want to?
Oh no, I was going to ask for parenting unpopular opinions. So surely you must have some.
Oh, parenting. I mean, it's weird, because I think that I don't really have unpopular opinions about parenting. I think what I have is, so there's all these rules online, and you have a baby and you start reading all this kind of crazy stuff about how to look after them, how to treat them, what's best for babies, and one thing that always sticks in your mind is this whole SIDS, this whole cot death thing, right? Which is the most horrendous thing imaginable. Little babies dying in their cots, and you're asleep and they just die or whatever. It's just unthinkable, and so you get so worried about that. And one of the things they always tell you is that you must keep them at a certain temperature between 16 degrees and 20 degrees. And our baby was born in summer, right? Our bedroom gets to 35 degrees in summer sometimes, right? It's really, really hard to cool our house down. So it's almost impossible to start with to try and solve this problem. But on top of that, also, my wife is very different to me in the way how she keeps hot. So my wife is never, ever warm enough. She will sleep in summer under a 13-tog blanket with extra fleecy blankets, pajamas, you name it. I will be like trying to peel my skin off to be even more naked than I already am. Like I will always overheat, and she will always freeze. And so we're like, well, which one is the baby? And it seems like it's a bit more towards Verity, because we literally tuck her in 24 degrees in our room on a regular basis, and she gets cold. And only when she's got a fleecy blanket on top of her merino wool bed bag, which is on top of a merino wool like a sleep suit, is she warm enough to sleep through. And I swear like that's hot. That's really hot. And if you were to read any of this stuff online, you'd be like, oh, we're just going to kill her. Like, but it's not like that. Every baby is so different, to the tune of maybe 20 degrees in body temperature. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, my opinions are, don't believe everything you read online. don't assume that all this very, very common advice is correct for your child. You really have to just live and learn, I guess.
When my kids were babies, it was always just don't let them roll onto their stomach. Like, keep them on their backs. And I never heard the heat thing. And so...
Oh, the heat was terrifying. But the rolling over one, so what the midwife told us is that in the 80s when I was born, the advice was front sleeping. So they literally would have to put you face down on your cot to sleep. And no one made the link here between... There had to be like some stupid figure, a large percentage of cot death. And someone went, do you think it's because they're on their face and they suffocate in a blanket? Oh, maybe. And so the next advice was to put them, apparently in the 90s or something, side sleeping. So you sleep them on the side, which is impossible to sleep a baby on its side, by the way. You can't do it. They
roll onto their backs. I mean, and babies, when they're born, can't actually roll all the way over, which is like why sleeping on their bellies is really bad. And sleeping on their backs, they can't turn over themselves. So sleeping on their backs is best, is what they said.
Yeah. So in the UK, at some point, the National Health Service said sleep on the back is the way to do it. And after that happened, the SIDS rates dropped like hundreds and hundreds of times. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. How did it take us so long to learn this?
Yeah.
And how did we go through all the stages of different ways to sleep before we figured out maybe one where the mouth is in the air is the best one?
And so you call it cot death, and you said SIDS, but it stands for sudden infant death syndrome.
Yes, that's it. Yes, sudden infant death syndrome.
Someone that doesn't know what we're talking about.
Sudden infant death syndrome is a weird phrase because it's basically suffocation. I mean, there's lots of different other ones as well, like overheating and stuff, but suffocation was and probably still is a main cause of it. Blankets in the cot, they can suffocate, toys in the cot. So you can have a bed bag because it sticks to them, but you can't have anything else near the baby in the cot because they might get it in their mouth and then SIDS, right?
It sounds super scary to have a baby.
It's a learning experience, and you could definitely scare yourself, and you could also get scared. But it's one of those things where the trade-offs are worth it.
I still go in every single night and make sure my children are breathing. It is like just I think forever ingrained in me now, just to go in and check on them.
I mean,
it makes sense.
And since the age of 12 months, she loves sleeping on her front. She won't sleep any other way, so you have to deal with it. You just make sure there's no obstructions and.
Oh, I think after like 3 months, you're pretty safe.
Really? It's 18 months, they say in the UK. But again, it's that online thing. It's what you read online. Apparently, SIDS is most prolific up to 18 months. After that, there's nearly no cases at all. Yeah.
Source the internet.
Source the well, it's NHS, so it's a little bit more legitimate. But but certainly,
Fair enough. So you mentioned your wife and you have super different sleeping temperatures. Have you heard about this 8 sleep thing?
Yes, and I want one, but it's $2,500 and then a subscription.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not paying that.
So if Sean and Brittany, if you haven't heard of this, it's like a water cooled mattress cover with 2 zones that you can change individually, so you can sleep in the perfect temperature.
And Alan Huberman recommends it.
But like,
yeah.
Maybe Alan Huberman can afford it.
Like $2,500
Yeah. So
subscription. That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, I think for me it's the subscription that really sticks.
It is.
Why do you need a subscription? Why? I'm buying.
Yeah,
exactly. Because they can make money out of it, right?
And they want your data.
And imagine the people buying these. People buying these have tons of money, right? So another $20 a month for a subscription is nothing.
All I'll say is that every good idea can be cloned.
Mm-hmm. And somebody
So I look forward to the clones.
Yep. All right. I can go next. So my unpopular opinion is that you don't need a lot of equipment to do content. They've been renovating my bathroom now for a while, and they're going to for 9 weeks. And I record at home. I create content at home. I have my camera and all of this stuff. But I've decided that I'm just gonna sell all of that stuff and buy like a lav mic instead.
Yeah, I love them. I've got those.
And then Yeah, and then I'm just going to use an iPhone to record the actual like face of myself.
So
You don't need more.
I did a talk with Zach Leatherman, 11D creator, and we talked about Jamstack the other day on Cloud Cannon, his new company, their YouTube channel. And one of the people that were with us was using their iPhone, and I swear it had better quality than my DSLR. And today we had so many audio troubles getting in here, and I switched off my Yeti mic, and I'm using the MacBook and the Mac camera, and Antony's using the MacBook. I mean, we're all like, just like, technology has come so far. Like, who
I'm
cares?
slimming it. I don't even have a light. Look at that.
Slimming it, yeah. But I mean, it's not the FaceTime camera is not the greatest, but the iPhone and like any smartphone. I used to use my smartphone as my camera. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's good. It's what I was saying. Sorry.
All right.
That's not
That's not unpopular, I don't think.
I don't know. I feel like every time you go online, it's like always, oh, you need this camera, you need this, this, and this.
If you listen to all the like tech YouTubers and
yeah, but there was this Racer camera. I think we talked about it a while back. That seemed really good.
Scott's got one. Scott Spence has a posh webcam. Yeah, he seems to like it. It looks good. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
We should have Scott back on. I hear he has a new
Yeah.
gig.
Yes.
He has got a new gig, yeah. And his full-time gig is running Svelte London for me, because I tell you what, I got no time to do it.
I went to Svelte London, and you weren't there, so I may have attended more Svelte London than you.
You have recently, for sure.
At least this year.
Yes.
I guess I can quickly go on to mine, unless Brittany, you have something that you want to mention.
I'm still thinking, so go for it.
Okay, well, I can share one. I can donate one to you if you want to talk about it as a fellow ex-Netlify employee. Jamstack is dead.
Well, I just had this conversation. I can't say Jamstack is dead. We just talked about it.
Jamstack is alive.
Okay, so maybe unpopular opinion is Jamstack is alive.
Yeah, so that was what the conversation was about. Is Jamstack dead? Is it worth saving? Like, does it need to have this hard line of like, what is the philosophy behind Jamstack? Do we want and basically like Jamstack was about the community behind it, and I think it can still be like what Vite has become to the community, and it can have an architecture, but that doesn't mean it has to be, you have to have this architecture or you're shamed from being in this community. And that's
so it's becoming agile.
And then it also like started evolving and adapting because Netlify was playing catch up to Next.js, and they started adding too much into it and evolving it that people didn't know what it was. And then now they killed off the Discord because there was nobody coming to the community because they felt shamed or they didn't know what Jamstack was anymore. And it lost what it was. I don't think that means it's dead. I think Jamstack, the philosophy, the architecture still does exist. You can still create performant sites that are static by default, that have like, you can use serverless functions. You can make them progressively enhanced, but performant by default. And I think that falls into that Jamstack philosophy. And you can have that community around it, and that can live on without needing all of the other Netlify garbage attached to it. But it's forever going to be attached to Netlify.
What do you mean garbage? What?
Because
These ex-Netlify people here having a bit of a...
I said this in the thing. I was like, because Phil did a good job of explaining like why they switched the meaning of Jamstack and why they brought in all of this other stuff. Like, it didn't have to mean just static content. As the web was evolving, it had to evolve. Okay. And I was like, But in the same sense, Netlify is a business. They also had to think that Next.js was just taking off and leaving them in the dust. That had to also play into it, that they had to include Next.js in the Jamstack, or that was going to exclude the biggest framework from the Jamstack. And so I think that played into that evolving a little bit. And that's what I meant by garbage. Not that Netlify is garbage, just that I think the business attaches too much to the Jamstack. And you can never separate the two.
Yeah, they're tied at the hip.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was an unpopular discussion or opinion, whatever that calls it. But it's worth having because it happened, in the time that we were off, and it is a major discussion topic for web development. I have a slightly different one, which is that I don't think it's unpopular right now, but I think it was unpopular as of a month ago, which is that Bun has beat Deno, in terms of the new JavaScript runtime race. And it's, to me, very interesting. And I think I'll be honest, something that I was wrong about. I had looked at Deno as the attempt that had far more backing because it was run by Ryan Dahl and had sort of module, like sort of the ESM future of JavaScript in mind, whereas something with backward compatibility with Node and run by someone with relatively less experience in open source would struggle. And as you guys have all seen in the past month, I think that opinion has completely reversed. And now people are much more likely to try Bun purely because of the faster installation times and nothing else.
Yeah. And then they'll learn about the kind of require and import in the same file and all that kind of fun stuff. And it's like Deno, whatever it's called. I guess it gave you TypeScript on Node, but I didn't hear that much outside of that. That's like one thing, and it didn't interest me anyway. Whereas Bun has just solved loads of problems, which is, well, we think it has.
That's the marketing, and I think the marketing is definitely a part of it, but also I guess the prioritization of what is important in terms of people's pain points.
Yeah.
Deno also shipped NPM support, so you can import NPM modules in Deno because guess what? Ryan wrote the node resolution algorithm, so he knows how to support NPM packages. It just wasn't part of the original design goal, and he's basically had to compromise at every stage because Bun went for full node compatibility, and now we are where we are. And it's very interesting because it turns out that speed is just a very effective marketing tactic, and Deno, for whatever reason, never communicated that as a priority.
Well, I guess what I mean is not necessarily the node compatibility, but the fact it can do import and require in the same file, CJS and ESM. That was like a major pain point that you see again and again and again on Twitter. And to go and attack that and address that problem, that for me is a real, that's got people talking about it. Everyone likes speed, right? That's cool, but that thing there was that's solidified everyone's mind. I must try this thing. It solves my massive pain point that I will encounter at some point, and that's pretty. Is
what's drawing me to it. But I did see something about that support may be slower for some things to Bun. Is that I haven't tried Bun yet, and I don't know. Is that going to be true? Like, is it going to be slower to support future stuff?
I don't think so. Like, it depends on what WebKit supports, right? Or what's it called? JavaScript Core is the JavaScript engine of WebKit. So Node is based on V8, right? So that's Chrome, but Bun is based on the Safari version, and so it depends on what the Safari people put in JavaScript Core, I guess. But they're supposed to be compatible with each other, right? But as we all know, there are issues with browsers on the web not doing the same thing. So
I think you'll always find incompatibility with something that basically tries to implement something else exactly.
If Bun can do this ESM CJS support, why can we not get this in Node?
because I understand, and I could be wrong, but I understand it's because of the way it's done is fundamentally different. The way import works is async. It's a completely different paradigm. And I think that unless you build it from the ground up with the view to support both, it's very, very hard to retrofit because you've gone down a certain path and a lot of decisions hinge off that initial decision. I did see that it could be done in Node, but it would be very, very difficult to do that in Node.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried using Bun for a Svelte Kit project, and it's really nice. I'm using specifically the SQLite support, which is built into Bun, so you don't have to import like a library for that. But I hear there are some missing features that are apparently very important to people, so you can't really use it yet. I'm not sure if this is actually a real 1.0 or if it should have been maybe a 0.9 or like.
Well, it's
close.
101 now.
yeah, right. But you get what I mean, right?
I think it's
very
tested
close,
in
but it's not
Yeah.
quite there yet.
I think it's tested in public. Everyone's obsessed with 1.0, and there's a whole movement around don't ever release version 1, right? It's a question that's asked a lot. Is Svelte Kit ready? It is before 1.0. When's 1.0?
Yeah.
Why do you want 1.0? Because then it's ready for production. Well, it's not. It's just a number. It doesn't mean anything, right? It may mean stability in the API, but that depends on who's doing it.
Theoretically, less breaking changes until you have
and
another
it kind of becomes
major version.
Yeah, but it's still up to the maintainers who do it to decide to respect Semver in that way, isn't it? There's nothing saying 1 is good and 0 is not good. But I think that I would do what he's done and rush it out a bit earlier than it's ready because you want to get feedback and test that way, and that's how you find what's important to people. Yeah. But I think I wouldn't put it in production anyway. Definitely not yet, but I think for a while I wouldn't use it in dev environments only because that's definitely you're putting in production something different to you've got in dev environment. That's always bad. So I think it's good that it's out there and we can use it for small stuff and experiment, but it's not ready yet. It's just not ready in real world terms. The other thing is I did try it the other day with my API, and Mongo does not like it at all, or vice versa. Like there was loads of issues there, and I think one thing that someone else has mentioned is that the support for whatever the stuff that is needed by Sharp, which is a lot of native bindings, does not work and will not work for a while because it's quite hard to implement. I think Jared might have even said that himself. But yeah, so that will. I try to avoid native libraries where I can, but that will be a blocker for a lot of people as well that use native stuff.
Yep. Brittany, do you have a?
Oh, I feel like mine was the Jamstack stuff. So.
Yeah, I guess yours was the Jamstack one. All right, cool. Then it's the final section of the show. The picks. Sean, you have one?
Opinions.
I like your pick as well, by the way. Let's hear about
I'll start off with one. I think this past week was the single best week of TV in maybe the past 2 years that I've seen. So we had both Foundation Season 2, Episode 9, and Ahsoka Episode 4, both of which are very good. And I think after a little bit of a slump, as the Marvel TV shows declined in quality, everyone hates on Secret Invasion, and that was not very good. But I think Apple is picking it back up, and Star Wars is picking it back up. So highly recommend catching up on Foundation. Go through Season 1 and 2. And
it's really
get up to Episode 9. It might feel slow, but it's all building up towards. I think I've been calling this sort of the Game of Thrones strategy. Game of Thrones, famously, the Episode 9s of every season are the big budget episodes where a lot happens and it's very high budget, a lot of action, and that's seems to be what's happening for Foundation. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I feel like if I talk more about it, it would be a spoiler for it. It's basically an adaptation of the Isaac Asimov novels, but with an addition of something that they call the Cleonic Dynasty, which is a completely... it was a concept introduced just for the TV show, and apparently the only thing that people like about it. So everything adapted from the books. The sort of Gale and Salvo Hardin storyline was very boring to most viewers. But the stuff that was invented just for the TV show is very compelling and drives a lot of viewers. And I think there was some resolution there this season. but I like it anyway, and it's just very good escapist science fiction. So that's my recommendation.
Yeah. Very, very nice, like production value as well. Like all of the anime, like the graphics and everything is really, really nice.
I thought a couple of the earlier episodes were like sluggish, but then like towards the end of the season was really good. So fight through
agreed.
those episodes is what I'm saying.
It's funny you mentioned the part that they added to the show was the part that people liked. I feel like usually it's the other way around with adaptations.
It is.
Like The Witcher is people are not really liking the direction there, etc. But yeah,
I mean, so much so that Henry Cavill left The Witcher, right? And unfortunately also got dumped for Superman.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's going to be doing now. Oh, I think he's going to be working on Warhammer.
Warhammer TV show or something, or a movie.
Yeah. So the explanation for Foundation is that the book itself is extremely hard to adapt into a TV show because it spans thousands of years in timeline, and therefore the characters change a lot. So in order to make the TV show make sense, they had to invent characters that would be effectively immortal, and that's what they did without giving it too much away.
No, that's a good summary. Have you guys seen the Wheel of Time series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Have you read the books?
No, I got them.
Because
I haven't started them.
Yeah, because this is a show that I was very excited about, but I was very disappointed because I've read the books and it's nothing like the books. They've like changed everything. It's only like the characters in name, basically. And then everything is just happening randomly that happens in the books. But it's don't read the books if you like the show. This is going to ruin the show.
That's really frustrating. Oh,
There are like 14 books.
Another good TV recommendation that we watched was Wool is the name of the book, but the name of the TV show is Silo on Apple TV.
Yes.
It was so good, and I'm reading the book now, and it is very close to the book. There are some things that they changed just to like move the story along a little faster, but I'm really enjoying the book now.
Very good.
Yeah.
I've watched that as well. Definitely something you should watch if you like Foundation, Sean. All right. Picks? I don't have one, so you guys go ahead.
That was my pick, I guess.
Anthony.
Okay.
I have one.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one. So I have a condition. So what it is, it's not. I mean, it is and it isn't. So there's a thing called restless leg syndrome, or RLS, and some people have it, and no one's ever been able to explain why it happens, what it is, how to solve it, how to cure it. You look online, it's like, oh, you can't cure it. It's just a thing, and it's when you get really tired or exhausted, your legs just want to move. You can't not move your legs. People tap their feet because of it. Sometimes you see them tapping their feet. It's probably because they've got RLS. It's like a pain that starts in your muscles, and if I try and hold my legs still when I've got it, like it will build and build and build until I have to just like squirm. And like you're trying to lie in bed trying to sleep and your legs are squirming, and no one's ever like been able to say what this is, and doctors don't know. And I was just randomly mentioning it to my sister-in-law, and she said, "Oh yeah, it's a magnesium deficiency." I mean, what? And so I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Oh, hang on a minute." Comes back with this like a jar of tablets, magnesium threonate that she got from Amazon. I'm like, "What? No, it's not. I mean, you're making this up." And she's like, "Yeah, it just solves it." I'm like, "All right, give me them." So she gave me these 2 tablets, just magnesium, and half an hour, and it was gone. And I was just like, "What?" My entire life, I didn't know this was a thing, and now it's just solved it. And so I took these tablets when I get it, and it solves it. Half an hour, it's gone, it's finished. And it's a magnesium deficiency. And the best bit is that you can just take these, because if you have this, you generally have a magnesium deficiency. You take these to sleep, and they're like the best sleeping tablets ever. So I can wake up feeling like a train's hit me in the morning just by taking these completely natural, it's like it takes vitamins, And honestly, like the sleep I get from having those is amazing. It's so solid. And sleep is good, actually. So, yeah, magnesium threonate. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. But it's good. It's good stuff.
So next up, we're doing a sponsor spot for Athletic Greens. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, we are actually doing it. I was going to say, yeah.
No.
That would be funny.
So I think that's it. Thanks everyone for watching and listening to us.
Watching us.
And yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, it's Kevin. If you like the show, please drop a review on your favorite podcast player. It would help out a lot. Thanks.